What's going on, guys? It's Phoenix back for another video. Don't expect really good content from me. I've just had a lot to talk about recently, so yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Masterpiece Megatron here, MP-36. Saying this at the top of the video, this is not the official Takara release. This is a knockoff, about $80 off of eBay. There was a weird Christmas package squeeze or whatever with Jenna Post and EMS, so that delayed him getting to me by a while. Long story short, ordered it in November, at the end of November, got to me just after the month window. It got here on the 3rd of January, which was a week-ish after the month window. Completely fine. No fault of the seller. It just would have been helpful to know, hey, there might be a Christmas package squeeze, because I've never dealt with that before, but I don't know. It's probably just me bemoaning. I'm sure somebody's going to be like, dude, you should expect that when you do that around the holidays. Blah, 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 blah. But I digress. So yeah, so even though this is a knockoff and a very good quality one of Masterpiece 36 Megatron, I'm just going to keep referring to him as Masterpiece Megatron throughout this video. So yeah. Two things that I want to point out before I get into my actual thoughts on the figure. One, for the translations of the Japanese phrases, which are, let's see if we can get all three of them to play. There we go. They're randomly generated as far as I can tell, so I wasn't hearing that Cybertrona one, which is horrible Japanese English, or my horrible attempt at doing Japanese, but whatever. So the translation for those, check out MGo's video on Megatron. He translates them within the video as a little annotation or text on the video, so yeah. And then for going from bot to alt mode, I want to give a shout out to Dan 14th Prime. His transformation video on that was really helpful and was basically a walkthrough for me on the transformation. I've just always found Takara's instructions good and better, a lot better than Hasbro's, but sometimes not the most intuitive to figure out what to do. So I'll generally go by like a video walkthrough or whatever if there is one with a Masterpiece release. Especially when, like all the other reviews that are out, or all the videos that are out of Masterpiece Megatron here, they go from alt to robot. Which is funny, because at least the knockoff version comes packaged in a robot mode. I don't know, so I specifically looked for one that went robot to alt mode because everybody else seemed to do the opposite. Just kind of a cop-out in my opinion, because that is honestly the easier transformation, and that's something that we're going to get into. Let's talk about, it's not my biggest issue with Megatron here, but at the same time, like, it is the biggest fault with the figure. The transformation from alt mode to robot mode is a lot more intuitive and easy than the transformation from robot to alternate mode, to gun mode. That honestly just boils down to there's a lot of specific things that you have to do, and it's a very like sequenced transformation that is honestly just a little bit more intuitive with going to robot mode from alt mode. It's a bit fiddly getting everything past each other and lined up when you go to gun mode. And I'm fiddling with him because I realized there's a part on one of his shoulders that is not rotated properly. But basically there's just a whole mess. Actually, no, that is how that's supposed to be. Never mind. There is a whole sequence of things that has to happen, obviously, for both parts of the transformation, going to and from either mode. But it feels more fluid going to robot mode. and it feels almost more logical. There's 4 more like rotations and such that has to happen in clearance bugaboos, I guess. It's simply put, it's more fun going from alt mode to robot mode. And that's not to say that it's a complete freaking chore going to alt mode, because honestly, while it is kind of very step-by-step and honestly kind of tedious, and it is very sequenced, like there's like a very specific set order, that's what I'm trying to say. Can you tell I don't do videos anymore, or reviews. It is still a very intuitive transformation, and I honestly feel like it's one that I will get down if I do multiple iterations of it. That being said, honestly, this guy is going to be on my desk for a while because I'll have to do some reorganization over there before I put him over there with my masterpiece and other stuff, random display on my main display, but yeah. So honestly, that's just like my biggest issue with Masterpiece Megatron, is that the transformation itself, there is a bit of a learning curve. Now, it's not a complete freaking chore. Like, I'm just going to grab a figure that I have nearby that's a perfect comparison of that, or a perfect description of that. Like Bad Cube Sun Surges here. Although his, I felt, has gotten more intuitive when I've done it in subsequent times since I got him. But it's not as, say, intuitive as other transformations. It's not on any level as simplistic as, and I know this is a third-party figure, the Hot Soldiers Soundwave, because that's going to be super basic and super straightforward. But on the spectrum, I guess, from, say, Bad Cube Sun Surge, whose transformation is still honestly kind of a chore, let's be honest, and is very fiddly, to to Make Toys Downbeat. It's a very weird spectrum. It's honestly kind of closer to Make Toys Downbeat. Yes, Make Toys Downbeat's transformation is very fiddly, but it's still honestly very intuitive. The fiddle factor, all of the transformation, isn't that much of a big issue with Megatron, but it's still there. And it's more noticeable going to alt mode, if that makes sense. I've spent 4 fucking minutes talking about the transformation. Anyway, it's a really good transformation, and just, it feels like they tried to do too much with the transformation, specifically going to gun mode to compensate for the shit that was MP-05's transformation. Let's be honest. Again, don't have MP-05, well, not again, but don't have MP-05. He came out way before I started collecting. Don't have any plans on getting him now because this is a thing. But yeah, so, robot mode here is freaking great. Mine is a little wobbly. I'm attributing that more to him being a knockoff than anything. The back is a little bit messy, and this part is a little flippy-floppy for me, but again, probably more because he's a KO. I don't know if that was an issue on the original. And the chest panel that rotates doesn't actually properly like lock in and stay in on mine. Actually, of course, as I say that, I push it in a little bit and it does. But yeah, honestly, like, this is a really nice looking alt mode. And other than like the issue up here with the shoulders, with these sections just being a little too wibbly wobbly and kind of not really securing in like I wish they would. I feel like that was an issue on the proper Takara release. This is a Megatron that I'm very happy with, and honestly plugs a massive hole in my collection. As soon as I can put him over on my shelf, which is out of camera, it's below that little penguin thing in the corner of this video, I'm going to have him right next to my Masterpiece Prime, who was one of the first figures I got when I started collecting. Technically as a Christmas present, but whatever. But yeah, yeah, he'll be right next to my first Masterpiece, which was Masterpiece Prime, so yeah. The gun mode, I like. This is going to sound like I'm dogging on the gun mode and basically slamming it for being shit. It's not by any means an atrocious gun mode. It does what it needs to do. It's a gun mode. It's a really nice looking gun mode. My biggest issue with it, and I mentioned this on my Twitter, which if I remember to, I'll throw in the description box down there, is that honestly, it's just kind of gappy and no, not gappy. It's just kind of paneling, just kind of broken up on that barrel section. It looks too panely. It's not like Classics 2.0 Ironhide puzzle former bit of a brokenness and everything. It just doesn't seem as like seamless and just cohesive as I was hoping it would in person. That's not saying, again, that it's a shit alt mode. It's really freaking nice. Although it's kind of funny because I do feel kind of weird with current events and all of that, having a transforming part die-cast, part plastic gun on my desk when he's in alt mode. The one time that he has been in alt mode for about a day and a half-ish. But I don't know where I was going with that. All in all, really excellent figure. Again, this is a knockoff. This was $80 roughly off of eBay, and I am very happy with that price. I feel like had I paid the 200 some that the original went for, I would be kind of annoyed, just because that seems a bit steep in my opinion for what the figure does. I feel like the price is slightly more justifiable because I think Masterpiece Dinobot is towing that line around that $200 price point. I haven't checked my pre-order for him, but I feel that's more justifiable for like a Masterpiece Dinobot just because of all the engineering and stuff and what that figure has to do. This, I don't know if I could have justified the $200. I'm sure there were reasons for it, probably the electronics and the die-cast. But yeah, I don't know that I would have actually paid and felt like I got my true money's worth for this figure, paying 200-ish or whatever he went for originally, the original proper release, that is. Accessories-wise, I'm honestly one of those people. I don't really ever use a lot of the Masterpiece accessories. I have a baggie with all of the ones that came with Inferno sitting in a storage bin because I'm never going to use them. Same with all the ones for Megatron here. I'm not going to use the alternate chest plate, the battle damaged one or the other one. Actually, no, I don't think there was another one. I'm not going to use the angry face, or I'm not going to constantly swap out the faces. I'm not going to use the brain control helmets. I'm not going to use his Energon mace from that one episode of G1. I'm not going to use the sword. I'm not going to use that little pea shooter gun. So, I don't know. I feel like, and this has always been like my issue with Masterpiece figures as they've continued to come out, and less of one with Megatron, is that I feel like a lot of the cost goes into packing in as many accessories as they can, in addition to giving us a good or excellent figure. And I feel like if the focus shifted more towards giving us a consistently excellent figure and less accessories, then the price would be more consistent. Because for fuck's sake, we've had things ranging from, I think it's up until recently, up through Inferno. I could be wrong. Up through Inferno, it was $80 to $120 for Masterpiece. And now although I think it's $120 for, and now, like, we seem to be at this, like, weird, like, $120 to $200 price range. And, I don't know, that's a longer issue for me, and that's another separate video that I don't want to actually honestly do. But the one accessory that I honestly do display Megatron with, and the whole reason why I went on that little mini tangent, is the evil smirking smiley face, which makes it look like he's really freaking happy to destroy you. I've definitely displayed him with this alternate face. So, yeah. I know. Just, my whole thing is that I feel like there's too many superfluous accessories packed in with Masterpiece figures these days. But yeah, enough of my ramblings. MP-36 Megatron. I recommend him. If you can get him, get it knockoff or the original, get it. If I can find the information on eBay for the seller, or just, there's good quality knockoffs like mine for MP-36 Megatron on eBay for about $80, so yeah. Recommended. Rambling. Ending this video.